Okay, I've got 6:30. I'm going to call the public hearing to order. The purpose of the public hearing is for citizen comments. We have three items. One is the sewer rate increase in compliance with RSMO 250.233. Second item is Merrimack Specialty Company. Applicants requesting conditional use permit for a fireworks city, a seasonal fireworks stand to be located at number 12 Frenchman Bluff Road. Zoning is C3, highway commercial. And the third item is the South Arrow Coffee Company, number 4 LLC, doing business as Scooters Coffee. Applicant is requesting conditional use permit for Scooters Coffee, a drive-through quick service restaurant to be located in a parking lot carve out at number 9 Lincoln Street. Any of those items that you would like to speak about, it's going to take a few minutes and give the public a chance to comment, and then we'll start the meeting. Sir Jerry Kaiser, yes, I have your speaker's card here. I apologize.
Okay, yeah, I thought I filled out a card and I thought he called them up, so.
I'm sorry. Yep, you're up. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jerry Kaiser at 1051 Huntington Drive. And I just wanted to comment on the sewer rate increase that we're discussing. Just wanted an explanation, really. I looked at your budget from 21-22 and it showed a balance from your sewer and sewer plant of $1,602,880, and it had an estimated revenue of $3,107,425. Gave you a grand total of $4,710,305. Your estimated expenses was $3,771,975, and that gave you a balance of $938,330. So there was a transfer out of $160,000, with left balance around $778,520. So that was your budget in 21-22. So I'm wanting to know, with you, if you're in the black, so to speak, with your rates and that, why are you talking about an increase? If I have these figures correct, I took them off your budget, and that was the expenditures that you had anticipated. So I just want to know why we're talking about sewer rate increases. Is it to deal with the new plant that was developed? And that was supposed to be operational in June of 2021. Is that in operation now?
Yes, it is.
It's okay. So is there something committing to that plant, or what is the reason for the rate increase if we're $778,520 over in the balance? So.
Yeah, I can speak to that. We had a rate schedule. It was set up on 5 years, and we did projections and had that done by Missouri Rural Water, and it expired this past year.
22.
Yeah, we reached the end of that rate schedule. So we had another review done by Missouri Rural Water. They came in and looked at long-term capital costs, operating costs, everything, reviewed both water and sewer. And due to the fact that we have a $1.5 million debt service in sewer for at least a couple more years, that was with our building a new plant and the debt service we already had.
So was that in budget or was that over budget?
It was in budget. It was, I don't remember, it was a $22.878 million project. We came in right there, yeah. But they review all of our costs and projected that we would be short in sewer moving forward if we didn't make an adjustment now.
for 5 years, is that what you said?
We're actually, if I understood her right, we're actually short now. We're using some capital improvements funds to make part or all of the payment for the debt service. So our sewer fund itself is not generating enough money to cover all the costs.
According to your budget, it was.
That's because we spent some money on capital improvements. She just analyzed the sewer itself. We're using capital improvements funds to pay the debt service. So she's looking at whether it was self-supporting, and it is not.
It's not according to your budget of 2021? I mean,
If we put all costs that were related to sewer into our sewer budget, we would have been short. We had to move a lot of things out of our sewer budget and put it into our capital improvements.
so that's where that $160,000 went?
The $160,000 is part of a bond covenant for the bonds we got to do the new project. We have to always transfer money and keep it in a sewer replacement and depreciation fund. That's part of our agreement with SRF, the state revolving fund, which is through the Department of Natural Resources. That's where we got the loan, excuse me, for the new plant. So we have to take that money out of our sewer fund every year and put it aside. And I'm not quite sure, I think for the length of the debt service, which goes into
30 years.
2050 or something.
Yeah.
30 years, but.
Why is it your budget showing a surplus 1 year and then all of a sudden it's showing a deficit the next year?
Well, we would never have a deficit. I mean, not like a end of the year deficit. When we were budgeting and we had several different sewer projects that needed to be done, and we saw that the sewer fund itself could not fund them, we took some of those projects and took them out of the capital improvements fund, which is a whole other fund. And that's the only reason the sewer fund is in the black, is because we didn't do all of the projects with using the sewer funds. And really, a sewer fund should sustain itself.
Right. That's what I was reading the numbers and I thought,
Yeah.
well, it is sustaining itself, so why is it increasing?
It's only because we are not putting everything related to sewer directly to the sewer fund.
You are correct, the numbers do show that, but
Right.
like I said, we can show you the capital improvement dollars that went to support things that, like debt service and things like that we had to use, and then it would not have. So this is to help keep it solvent moving forward.
So what is the rate increase are you projecting for?
I didn't.
I thought it was,
Harold, do you remember what you
it was
had?
like
on there?
37,000. Extra a month or something, or was that a year?
So
I mean,
What you say?
yeah, that doesn't sound right. I mean, you wanted to know how much extra we'll get from the sewer increase?
I'm asking, what are you projecting the sewer increase going to be for our homeowners?
Oh, I'm sorry. I got that.
1,000 a
Currently,
year.
So it's residential usage charge for 1,000 gallons. This shows you the entire chart, and if you'd like this, it gives you everything under residential right here. So here it is. This is
She's
a
got it.
Yeah, it's kind of involved there. You have to go through each individual.
Okay.
yeah, our water rates are not going up, only the sewer rates.
Well, that's the ones that's most expensive.
Yeah, but right. Currently, for 5,000 gallons of water usage, you pay a bill for water and sewer of $70.10 on the first year of a month. On the first year of the new rate, it will be $76.10. So it'll go up $6 a month based on 5,000 gallon usage,
Okay.
which is just kind of a rule of thumb of it. That's always the metric they use.
And that's projected for the next rate good for the next 5 years.
It goes up a little bit with each year.
They're incrementally increases each year. Roman numeral 4 there kind of gives you the A through F, gives you the yearly increases on a base rate.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Oh, yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Tom Dixon with Merrimack Specialty Company. I also wanted to introduce myself for the Merrimack Specialty Company, the fireworks location application. If you have any questions about our industry, our business, how we operate, just so you know, this is the same location we've operated in the past several years on the terminal property. And so they operate in the same fashion. All of our manager and employees are all people employed by the schools or students at the local schools. So that's kind of our model, how we operate. We had a workman's comp survey a few weeks ago, and they asked us how many seasonal people we employ. Most of them are students, and with over 1,300, we operate here in Missouri and a lot of different sites. So that's our model. We get a lot of good people involved. But if you have any questions about
Are you aware that it's illegal to set off fireworks here in the city limits of Troy?
I'm sorry?
It's illegal to set them off here in the city limits?
I heard that you changed your ordinance at some point in the past regarding use. And, when people come in and ask what the local ordinance is, we tell them the truth, that the use isn't permitted in the city.
Appreciate it.
As far as I know, there haven't been any issues regarding how we operate our business. I can't say we've made commitments for tent rent and security at night with off-duty sheriff's deputies and employees. So, but thank you for your time. And again, if you have any other questions about our operation, I'd be glad to answer them.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to speak on any of those three items? Okay, I'm going to call the public hearing to a close then. We're going to open our regular meeting. We have a quorum present. I'd like to ask you all to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing for an invocation by Pastor Gus Vega.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. Do you pray with me? Father, thank you so much for all the people representing just our local city. We pray for your wisdom. We pray for them, for their families, Lord, for your protection. And we pray that as this city, Lord, tries to go on and grow, Lord, I pray that you lead us in a way in which we can make it a good place to live, to work, to play. And Father, thank you so much for the freedoms that we have received. And we pray that you would give everybody wisdom here to continue to keep them with us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, that brings us to the consent agenda. I'll take a motion to approve that, please.
I'll make that motion.
Everybody good? We have a motion and a second to approve the consent.
I'd like to pull 7A.
7A. Anything else?
I want to pull 7L through X.
L through X. Is that good? We have 7L through X and 7A. Is that true? Okay, we have a motion to approve the consent with the exceptions of 7A and 7L through X.
Alderman Jones,
Yes.
Alderman Deacon,
Yes.
Alderman Lyford,
Yes.
Alderman Dewey,
Yes.
Alderman Norman,
Yes.
Alderman Horner.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, we have correction and approval of minutes, regular board meeting date of Monday, March 6, 2023. Can I get a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to table that until we get a printed copy of it and we can review it.
Is there a second on that?
I'll second.
I think they were in the book. Maybe not. Yeah, that's-
Can I take back my table and reword it?
There's been no second, so,
Okay.
yeah, they are in there.
Okay. And I would still like to make a motion to table it until it is printed, how it was requested to be printed.
I'll second.
Any discussion? You call the roll, please?
Alderman Dewey,
Yes.
Alderman Norman,
Yes.
Alderman Horner,
Yes.
Alderman Jones,
Yes.
Alderman Deacon,
Yes.
Alderman Lyford.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, citizen comments. First up, we have Julie Rogers, Lincoln County Economic Development Director.
Thank you.
Hi, I wanted to come up and I asked to be on the agenda. After an election, a lot of times we've got some new aldermen or mayor, and I like to go around and kind of reintroduce myself to those or introduce myself to those I've not met. I'm Julie Rogers. I'm the Executive Director of Economic Development for Lincoln County, which means I cover all 642 square miles of the county, including our 4 other cities. I've been with the office for 10 years since its full-time inception, and I have been the director for about 3 years. I provided you with a very brief copy of the strategic plan and the goals that I work with each year within the office. And I'm going to very briefly go through that. If anybody knows me knows I can talk about Econ Dev and what I do all day long. First, I wanted to give you an update. As most of you know, we did apply for an offer grant for an industrial site for the city of Troy for the Watner property. We were not successful in receiving that, and I did reach out to the state of Missouri to inquire why. And I'd like to just read you a response and then follow up with that. While Troy scored very well in the area of site control, road access, workforce access, and community support, unfortunately, site size, the number of studies completed, infrastructure development, and as well as rail access did appear to put it on the bottom of the list. So they only funded about half the projects were submitted. They thought it had great value. They want to follow up with me. They say potentially some other grants that could be worked for. We've also reached out to Chad Egan, who is now with EDA, the Economic Development Agency, which is federally funded. He also thinks we've got a meeting with them on Friday because we think we can get some funding through there. So even though we were not successful in this, it is not over, and we're going to continue to work with that. So moving on with that, like I said, here's a copy of the strategic plan that I kind of developed. It kind of outlines the goals of my office and what we try to accomplish. There's quite a few things in here, and I'm not going to go through them because you guys can kind of read, but a lot of the things we focus on is the attraction of new projects, and mainly industrial projects. We're trying to create good paying jobs and stuff that are needed or fill that we do not have here. We are also, but most of our time is truly spent with our existing employers who are already here, made the investment and what their needs could be. So that is about 80% of our time. We've got a lot of companies that are growing. We want to make sure that we are providing the resources that they need. We are also here to promote any sites that you may have. We are also here working, like I said, with trying to create this industrial site grant to develop properties that are going to be very attractive. It's very competitive these days. Right now, everybody wants things that are shovel-ready, which means that the site is ready, the infrastructure is in place, and you guys have done a lot of work to get that going, and that really helps me get my job done. I will say also your Public Works Department, everybody over here is fantastic to work with. When I'm working on trying to submit a site on a project, I usually have 2 or 3 days to get all the information in on that, and they're very, very responsive, so they are to be commended for that work. Our objectives, of course, like I said, is we're trying to kind of grow the industrial base and the growth and stuff of the community. That includes retail, commercial, industrial, everything. It takes a lot to get that done. You have to have not only available sites and infrastructure in place, but you have to have strong things like healthcare or public safety or education is very, very important, which is one of the reasons we all work so hard to attract Rankin Technical College here to Lincoln County, which has been a real benefit to us. It has gotten us a lot of attention. It has also helped many of our employers that are here who are working very, very closely with them to get that skilled and that future workforce that they need. If you kind of switch over to page 4, there's a list of some of the goals that we focus on each year. We kind of set goals in place and what we kind of like to do and really focus on. You'll notice in red a lot of things that were on that list, 2022, they're either in place or they've been completed. As you all know, we have a serious lack of infrastructure in countywide outside our cities. Last year, with the help of our cities and providers, we did complete a feasibility study to determine what we needed and what our opportunities were. We are now working together as a county to kind of sit down at the table and figure out how we can all work together to get that in place to serve those areas and to increase the capacity where we don't have it. Things are going very, very well, and we expect to see some good things with that. As everybody knows, roads and bridges, we work very closely with our cities and with the county and MoDOT on projects to try to get together. There's a lot of broadband, which you guys are very lucky here in the city of Troy, but anybody outside of your city limits usually suffers from that, and that's a real challenge. For education purposes, people working from home, our farmers, they're relying on it too. So we spent a lot of time focusing on that as well. Like I said, I won't go through that. When we get down to the bottom, community development projects, once again, these are very important to have quality of life as we're trying to attract these companies. On the very last page, what we do is all about partnerships. It's very important that we all work together, and that's kind of a list of who we partner with and the goals that we all try to accomplish together. That sums up about a whole lot of stuff that we do. If you ever come to the commissioners, I report to the county commissioners. I see them tomorrow about every 2 weeks to give them an activity report of what we've got working, and it's usually about 2 or 3 pages of very specific projects. We've got a lot of things going on. We're always happy to work with the cities. If you've got any questions for me, please call me anytime. Many of you have popped in my office and sat down and asked how I could help on projects or asked for information or asked me to look at something. I'm always happy to do that. So thank you very much.
Thanks. Thank you. Okay, next up we have Sherry Presser, 1031 Pin Oak Court, discuss sheep in neighbor's property.
It's been one short year. Here I am again. But seriously, thank you everyone here for hearing me tonight. As my email stated, the infractions, plural, of Miss O'Hanlon, they're disrespectful to lawmakers, ordinances. The first ordinance she ignored for 28, 30 years, told everybody she was grandfathered in. So we made a new ordinance for her last year to allow her to do it the right way and allow maybe other folks to have this. And she didn't do it the right way. She has not filed for a variance. She has not filed for an application. She does not have a child in 4-H or FFA living in her home. I am a property owner here last year who complained of the smell and the flies that they drop. Up to 4 pounds a day of manure, along with their straw bedding, is what one sheep puts off. David Norman, thank you for coming out and seeing the layout of the property. Those sheep are at my back door, not hers. The manure she piles at the back of the fence. I propose that these sheep be removed immediately since she has ignored last year's amends for her. She's going to get up here and say she didn't know. Well, how do I know? I'm not the one with the sheep. How do I know the rules that she's got to go through to get this? I really... Okay, we had one alderman last year take a semi-survey when he was at Walmart with his wife shopping. Thank you, Mr. C. Jones. He decided to start asking people, what do you think about? And he specifically, market cheap from fair April to July. He said that to them. He had one person out of like 12 or 15 that said yes. She was asked last year by one of you aldermen, I can't remember who, how many children, since she's involved in it, do you know in city limits that want to get involved with doing this? She said 1. So where is she more important than my tax-paying money? My discomfort from smelling and flies right out my back door, pretty much. I'm the one that hangs fly bags in her tree to collect them, not her. Anyway, so I really do. I propose this, if there's a 10-day, give her 10 days to remove animals, she doesn't deserve it. She thumbed her nose at everyone here that allowed her to do the right thing last year for this year, and she did not. And so they need to be gone. Try it again next year. Do it the right way. And thank you for listening.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Okay, next up we have Dennis Dieter, 1097 Huntington Drive, water payment drop box.
Hello, everybody. I think everybody knows me. Part of my concern is the water payment drop box. It's been out here forever. When City Hall used to be up on Main Street, they had a drive-through, they had a drop box, they had both. My biggest concern is who made the decision to make it to where they cannot drive up to it and drop it off.
I approve that.
Okay. With all respect, you pretty much snubbed every senior or handicapped person in the city that may use that as a convenience to them. I had a gentleman ask me, he's 90 years old, what am I going to do? I pay my payment every month in that box. I said, well, according to state statute, they have to make arrangements. I guess the best thing for you to do is call your other alderman, because I'm no longer an alderman. I said, or you can pull up out front, ask for assistance. Just call inside and ask for assistance. So I guess my biggest concern is safety, for one. It makes it unsafe for the seniors, for the handicapped, the disabled. Is that the picture that we want to portray for the city? Or is that something, I don't know. I don't know if there's a good answer to that because, you know, the elderly and stuff that do use it now can't. What do we do? It's a question.
Well, this is citizen comment. Just please tell us what you want to say.
Well, it needs to be rectified. They need to put a box up. If this one leaks, fix it or buy another one. They're not that expensive. They can put it in the budgets. Not that expensive. Most cities have them. I contacted the ADA, which referred me to the DOJ, Department of Justice. I got a response back from the Department of Justice that clearly stated, your complaint has merit, which means what I'm complaining about has some merit, has some truth to it. But at this particular time, we are understaffed and under resources to where we cannot do this right now. All that meant is it's postponed. I won't let it drop. I'll continue. I'll continue on down the road of contacting the Department of Justice about that and other ADA compliances or uncompliances within the city. They agreed with West Bonneville's when it was rebuilt that it should have been ADA compliant. Once again, they don't have the staff or the manpower at this particular point in time.
Sorry.
Always put mine on silent here. So my suggestion is to all the elderly, I was hoping that Sean could be here, maybe he could put it in the paper, to when they come up to make your payment, to call inside and ask for assistance. Once they pay the bill, ask for a receipt. Instead of going out and picking up 30, 50, or whatever's in that box per day, they may have to make 8 or 10 trips per day just to appease the people that you've turned your back on. You know, I just find that disheartening that the mayor of a city would turn his back on the handicapped and the elderly.
I understand.
We do have a Dropbox, correct?
Which brings it, no, it's not a drop box, it's a hole in the wall with a slot in it. Which brings up the other part. I'm glad you brought that up, Gary.
But you gotta get out your car.
Yep.
You have to get out of the car and you have to walk up there.
Yep.
Gary, have you ever walked through that door in the winter?
Yes, sir.
Okay, have you ever looked up?
Sure.
Okay. Jeff can attest to this. I know when Clint was here, they had to bring the trucks up here and clean the icicles off that were so big. I don't know if they would have caused damage, probably death to a person. It's another thing we've got to look at and look into. It's another reason why I bring it up, because now when Tom is taking the notes, it should be on public record from this point forward. That these are the problems that will curtail by moving that box from a safe place to an unsafe place. And when somebody gets hurt, like I've told the city before, Jess can attest to it. Most of the people up here can attest to it. I will not lie to save this city's butt. Will not do it. Haven't done it in the past, won't do it in the future. We had the same situation in Winan Park, where we complained about the holes. Complained about them for almost 3 years before we finally had a lawsuit from somebody getting hurt. This ain't a question of if it's gonna happen, it's a question of when it's gonna happen. And when it happens, I'll be the first to step up and tell these people that I tried to address this issue with the board. And hopefully next month we can get it up here where we can discuss it and maybe have a vote. Or at least get some kind of response from the Department of Justice in writing. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, next up we have Carol Weeman, 1101 Trestle Court, water payment drop box.
I'm going to say that I'm a person that has dropped my payment off in a lot of Dropbox for as long as it's been here. Like you said, I used to drop it off at the drop off when it was up on Main Street. I don't quite understand why it was moved. I was told that it was a safety issue, that the clerks are afraid to walk across the parking lot with checks that are written out to the city of Troy, but yet you move it, and that's very normal hours, you move it to the back of a building that is secluded, and you expect elderly, women with children, anybody to get out at any point in time to drop it in a drop box after hours. And Mr. Lifer tells me that, well, the parking lot is secure, it's lit, but yet if you go and look across at the concession stand that was just broken into, there you go. How secure is it? Nothing against the police, but it can happen anywhere. And I just believe that that's horrible, that you moved it. And what about the people that are in wheelchairs and disabled? How are they supposed to get to the door? So I agree with Dennis. We shouldn't have to be made to put it back. We should be working on getting it put back.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next up is item 5, introduction of bills. Bill number 1372 is ordinance, an ordinance amending section 705.090, subsections B and C, residential and commercial sewer fees of the Code of Ordinance of the City of Troy. Bill number 1372 is ordinance, an ordinance amending section 705.090, subsections B and C, residential and commercial sewer rates of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Troy. You have a rate schedule there in the ordinance in front of you. Alderman Horner worked on putting this together some time ago, and so I'll take a motion and any discussion after we get a motion in a second.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. Did you get it? Any questions or comments on this? Got a rate schedule set up for 5 years, I believe. Okay, you want to call the roll, please?
Alderman Corner,
Yes.
Alderman Norman,
Yes.
Alderman Jones,
Yes.
Alderman Lifer,
Yes.
Alderman Deaconberg,
Yes.
Alderman Dooner,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. Item 2, this is an ordinance for the trash hauling. This is actually the contract. Had to make a few modifications to it and send it back over, and their attorneys are still reviewing it, so I'd like to table this, please, until the next meeting.
I'd like, make a motion to table bill number 1373.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Is this
When
good?
do you want to table it till next month or?
Well, we put down the next meeting. I'm not sure just when that'll be.
When's our contract? Everything?
July 1.
So we're still good.
Yeah, we've got a little time. There's nothing major in the changes. They just wanted to review them by their legal counsel. Any other questions? Call the roll, please.
Alderman Norman,
Yes.
Alderman Dooner,
Yes.
Alderman Jones,
Yes.
Alderman Corner,
Yes.
Alderman Deaconberg,
Yes.
Alderman Lifer.
Yes.
Thank you, motion carries.
Thank you. Item 3, bill number 1374 is ordinance. An ordinance approving the City of Troy water and wastewater rates for a right to connect. This one is our meter costs have gone up dramatically, and the charges that we had in our ordinance were not even covering half the cost of the new meter, so we had to make some adjustments to keep them going in the hole, especially on the bigger meters. We're still pretty good on the 3/4, but you get anything over that, we were way underfunding our cost on that, so. I guess I need to read it again, sorry. Bill 1374 is ordinance, an ordinance approving the City of Troy water and wastewater rates for right to connect. Can I get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
questions or comments on that? Oh,
I have a question on that, because you said the rates are going up because of the increase in the meters, correct?
no, the meter costs are increasing.
Right, the meter costs are increasing. I thought a couple of years ago, by Richard Raymar's request, that we put out a standard and a certain type of meter that we require, but the developer had purchased that meter himself.
No, the ordinance, Dennis, that you're talking about is the developer has to purchase all the equipment except for the meter. Because we want control to make sure the right meter is going to those pits. The meter itself has gone up in cost.
Yeah.
The developer still has to buy the pit, the ring, the lid, the yoke, all that.
Yeah, but I thought, if my memory serves me correctly, at that time, because they didn't want the meters up here for you guys, Jeff and them was having a concern with the meters up there.
No, you're thinking of the situation we was talking about having the developers come up and get the meters. That did not work. So we still house the meters and Richard takes the meter and installs it. This is just the cost of the meter.
So we'll pass that, we did adhere to it, correct?
Do what?
I said, what we passed at that particular meeting, we're not adhering to that policy today.
That didn't work, and I believe that policy was changed within a month.
The new policy's got the size of the line coming from that meter to the dwelling. Say 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, it's got different prices for each one, all the way up to, I believe it's 6 inch.
Well, this is how much, 6 inch used to cost $6,104. Now it costs $9,675. That's just the meter.
This ordinance only affects the change of our cost.
Of the meter.
Of the meter, right. Yeah, it's been an ordinance, we had it set, we had to modify it because of the increased cost of everything, so. That's all we're doing here is making these things match what we're paying for.
We may be back in the next quarter, the
6
next
months
6 months,
to
and
change
change
it
it again.
Yes.
The
Well,
supply
everything's
chain
going
is
up.
just nuts.
Any other comments by the board? We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Alderman Norman,
Yes.
Alderman Horner,
Yes.
Alderman Eifert,
Yes.
Alderman Juniors,
Yes.
Alderman Jones,
Yes.
Alderman DeKemper,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. Item 7A. Request for planning, this is Merrimack Specialty. Alderman Norman, pull this off consent.
I just wanted to vote on it. I didn't feel comfortable making it, last year, the ordinance making it illegal to shoot the fireworks off in the city limits, and now we're gonna sell them and still take any money. That just doesn't seem right to me. So I couldn't vote for that. It just doesn't, it's just not right. So that's my only reason why I pulled it. I'd rather vote on it than
Okay.
make it a consent agenda. I mean, I know there's tax revenue, to come in, but it's, if we made it illegal, why, and then turn around, you're gonna sell them in the city limits, it just.
Well, they're still Alderman.
Yeah, no, I was
They're
gonna say, we
still
should put it back on the
Don't
agenda.
agree what we did last year, and, I still feel that, the city should be able to shoot fireworks on 4th of July, so.
I would agree with that.
So, we could always change it.
We could put that back on the agenda for next month and already be covered with the sales of it.
Okay, can I get a motion on 7A and then we'll have some discussion?
So if we hold that back till next month, I don't know, it was you, right? Correct?
Yes, sir. Why we need to.
When does, I know there's a time period when you can start selling and when you have to quit selling.
June 20th is under state law, that's when seasonal sales are allowed, June 20th through July 10th.
So if we table it until next month, or
Maybe, I didn't mean table this, I meant bring back on the agenda to make fireworks legal on July 4th. This, and I don't see any reason
There's no
to.
reason why we can't pass this.
Can we get a motion on this
I'll
item,
make a
then we'll
motion.
discuss it? Okay,
I'll second it. Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's right.
okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the request for a conditional use permit. Any more comments, concerns, anything the board has to offer on that? You catch up here. Okay, you can call the roll, please.
Alderman Jones?
Yes.
Alderman Dooner?
Yes.
Alderman DeKemper?
Yes.
Alderman Horner?
No.
Alderman Norman?
No.
Alderman Lyford?
Yes.
That's right. Motion carries 4-2.
Okay, thank you. That brings us to item L, I believe. Alderman Horn.
Yes, on that right there, on the take-home policy. I don't believe that each person that's taking a vehicle home needs to be approved by us. It just needs to be approved by, that's what I thought the whole thing that was written up, that was to be to the discretion of the supervisor. Because in this case, it would be Jeff Burkemper and Chief Taylor. That I don't see any reason why we have to vote on each individual officer or each individual employee.
That's the way the policy was adopted.
It's approval of the department head, and then the board of aldermen approving what the department head brings to them.
Okay, can we just vote on all of them as a whole, or do we have to vote on each one of them? Because I don't believe that's what Rachel and I had in mind.
It's already been approved.
Well, that's what was happening with the consent agenda. I haven't.
You don't have to do anything.
Yeah, we don't have to do anything because they're on consent.
But they've been pulled off now, so
Well, now we
we'll
do,
have
yes.
to, yeah, right. That's why they were put on consent, so they could all be passed at one time.
All right, I just want to make sure that, because it had each individual, that could change, an officer could get hurt or something, and he'd be filling up somebody else and a different name, so. That was my whole thing right there was on that.
Okay, can I get a motion on item L then?
We can't do it as a mass.
No, they've all been removed, they have to be passed into.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I'm sorry, the second was that?
Terry and Lyford.
Okay.
Any discussion on item L? Call the roll, please.
Alderman Jones?
Yes.
Alderman Lyford?
Yes.
Alderman DeKemper?
Yes.
Alderman Dooner?
Yes.
Alderman Norman?
Yes.
Alderman Horner?
Yes.
Motion carries. Mrs. Burke?
Thank you. Item M,
Make that motion.
any questions? Whenever you're ready.
Alderman Dooner?
Yes.
I'm sorry, could you please the second? I apologize. Okay, thank you. Alderman Jones?
Yes.
Alderman Norman?
Yes.
Alderman Horner?
Yes.
Alderman DeKemper?
Yes.
Alderman Lyford?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item N,
Make that motion.
One second.
Okay. Alderman Dooner?
Yes.
Alderman Jones?
Yes.
Alderman Norman?
Yes.
Alderman Horner?
Yes.
Alderman DeKemper?
Yes.
Alderman Lyford?
Yes.
Thank you.
item O,
Make that motion.
I'll second.
Alderman Dooner?
Yes.
Alderman Jones?
Yes.
Alderman Norman?
Yes.
Alderman Horner?
Yes.
Alderman DeKemper?
Yes.
Alderman Lyford?
Yes.
item P,
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Alderman Dooner?
Yes.
Alderman Jones?
Yes.
Alderman Norman?
Yes.
Alderman Horner?
Yes.
Alderman DeKemper?
Yes.
Alderman Lyford?
Yes.
item Q,
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Alderman Jones?
Yes.
Alderman Dooner?
Yes.
Alderman Norman?
Yes.
Alderman Horner?
Yes.
Alderman DeKemper?
Yes.
Alderman Lyford?
Yes.
item R,
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Alderman Jones?
Yes.
Alderman Dooner?
Yes.
Alderman Norman?
Yes.
Alderman Horner?
Yes.
Alderman DeKemper?
Yes.
Alderman Lyford?
Yes.
Item S.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Oh, go ahead.
Is that Alderman Norman? Okay, thank you. Alderman Jones?
Yes.
Alderman Norman?
Yes.
Alderman Dooner?
Yes.
Alderman Horner?
Yes.
Alderman December?
Yes.
Alderman Lyford?
Yes.
Item T.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Alderman December?
Yes.
Alderman Dooner?
Yes.
Alderman Norman?
Yes.
Alderman Horner?
Yes.
Alderman Jones?
Yes.
Alderman Lyford? Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm missing one. Apologize, I'm off by, did I get it?
Did you get Horner?
I think you need Harold.
Yes.
Alderman, thank you. And then
Item U.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Alderman December?
Yes.
Alderman Jones?
Yes.
Alderman Dooner?
Yes.
Alderman Lyford?
Yes.
Alderman Norman?
Yes.
And Alderman Horner?
Yes.
Item V.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Alderman Jones?
Yes.
Alderman December?
Yes.
Alderman Dooner?
Yes.
Alderman Lyford?
Yes.
Alderman Norman?
Yes.
Alderman Horner?
Yes.
Item W.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Whoever wants it. Alderman Jones?
Yes.
Alderman Dooner?
Yes.
Alderman December?
Yes.
Alderman Lyford?
Yes.
Alderman Norman?
Yes.
Alderman Horner?
Yes.
And item X.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Alderman Jones?
Yes.
Alderman December?
Yes.
Alderman Dooner? Alderman Lyford?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm sorry, I got yours, it was yes, right?
Oh, mine's a yes.
That's
I don't know
okay.
if you're not, I'm sorry.
Alderman Norman?
Yes.
Alderman Horner?
Yes.
And I think we made it through.
That's all of those.
Okay,
Ready for item Z now. Appoint Alderman to Historic Preservation Commission to replace Alderman David. Can I get a volunteer, please?
I'll do it.
Alderman December, thank you.
It's, August is the next meeting. It's 8 a.m. It's a Tuesday morning at the Roasted Bean.
They meet the first Tuesday, right?
Yes.
First Tuesday of the month at 8 a.m.
Yeah, we're skipping, July and doing August.
Where at?
The Roasted Bean on Main Street,
Okay.
8 a.m.
We'll send you out an agenda.
Yeah, sure.
You'll get a notification. Thank you for that. I'm not sure if we need a vote on that appointment or shouldn't, do we?
If you are appointing an alderman, yes.
Okay. All right, then I would like to appoint Alderman December. Can I get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
sorry, was that at the same time?
David Norman was in unison with Alderman Dooner, so
So anyone?
give the-
Alderman Dooner?
Yes.
Alderman Norman?
Yes.
Alderman Jones?
Yes.
Alderman Horner?
Yes.
Alderman Lyford?
Yes.
Alderman December?
Thank you. Item AA, discuss and approve a variance request from Teresa O'Hanlon, 1030 Magnolia for market sheep.
All right, so I am here to ask for a variance, but my grandson can keep his sheep in my yard. He is at my house 80% of the time. I have his 4-H club, so that, you know, he's been in there. He's been in the SMQA. He's done all of them meetings and learned about all that. I have his 4-H record that he is actually in 4-H. And his sheep record and my record for being a volunteer. And I would just like to keep the lambs till July so he can work with them and take care of them. They are at the end of my yard, but that's where my big shade tree is, and that's the best safe place for them to be. As far as cleanup, We do clean them, but all that stuff's in a flower bed right behind my house. I don't have anything by my fence. And as far as flies, we use fly control and whatever we need to do, we don't want them on them either, so. You know, we're doing everything in our power to make them clean and safe. So I didn't know I had to get a variance every year, but I do now. So I'm just asking for one this year to finish out the 4-H project with him.
We made this ordinance up last year, knowing that we had to go through the variance
I did
process.
know that.
When we wrote the ordinance last year, it was discussed, the rules and everything, and so you got the sheet before the variance this year.
Right, I did, like I said, I would have gladly came in, I didn't know.
We were here last year when we discussed it, the ordinance, and wrote the ordinance, and read the ordinance, so.
I even went on
You
and read
got
the
your neighbor
ordinance, because I
complaining,
didn't.
and that was in the ordinance, as part of the ordinance, once somebody starts complaining, you got to. So, it's in black and white. It's written out.
Just, yeah,
I mean, there's more than just,
Okay, we have a request for a variance. Can we get a motion and then we'll have some discussion?
I'll make that motion. To discuss and to approve the variance.
Thank you. We'll get a second. Need a second so we can vote.
I'll make the second.
Any discussion?
Do we have a copy of the ordinance by chance? I missed it.
I don't think it's,
Okay.
you got that pack, it's on there.
I did in my car, but the way, I still didn't read it as I had to go. I had a paper saying that I had to do it. I don't think I knew what a variance was.
I apologize. I think this was added on. I haven't seen the written request just yet either. If it works, I'll scan that for the file once it's completed. Okay.
Did you visit the property? And what did you find?
Sheep in the backyard. Pretty much everything that she's talking about. She got plywood on the back of her fence, so when it rains, it doesn't flood and flow down into her yard.
But that's just water, that's not, I
Well, I mean,
don't,
when the
No,
waste
that's
is.
not just water, I'm sorry.
I don't have any
It's
sheep on
not
it.
just water.
Okay, let's try to keep the debate right up here, please.
So my sheep are on this side of my yard. Her yard is only 10 foot of the other side of my yard.
How many sheep do you have?
What do you do with some
I pulled up the ordinance. It says the request.
What do you do with some we have a flower bed by the house, everything.
So it doesn't sit where you keep it dry.
It's still there.
Right, it's,
Still there.
it's straw and then more, but it's cleaned like every 3 days. There's nothing by my fence at all. The plywood that's there is from her.
That's right. What does she do? Can I ask a question? What does she do with the manure every 3 days? Ask her.
Can you tell us what, you said you put it in the flower bed, is that true?
It's right up underneath my bedroom window. There's a big set of.
She just made that last year because you guys asked her.
Okay, any other comments from the board, questions, concerns regarding this variance request? We have a motion and a second on the floor.
The only struggle I'm having with it is that everybody, well, the majority of us were here last year and sat in the same room and discussed the variance and discussed in great depth. I sponsored this with him and I got feedback and I got condemned by people because I sponsored it. And it was discussed in great length what was required, and it wasn't a secret that it would be required every year.
I guess I still didn't get that part that I thought it was the city was passed, so I just understood it to be an ordinance passed. I didn't realize. I went on there and read the ordinance, and I guess I just didn't realize that.
One, I mean, it says a written request, number one, right underneath the ordinance, right there, it says written requests on applicant to keep a market lamp sheep on a property within the city for showing a minor who resides at the residence where the market lamp sheep is requested to be kept. The minor's name shall be redacted to the first initial and the first and last name of the minor. So, I mean, we went over this pretty thoroughly about, getting them in April to July, right after they show them they were good to go.
I also believe in grace, and I believe that people are human and make mistakes.
I'll know next year, get in there and get the ordinance in February or whatever I need it for, so I'm ready.
So the other thing too is, you do have a neighbor, which is in the ordinance, who's complaining that there is smell and flies.
I welcome all of you to come visit my yard.
So
Any day.
that's the other part of the ordinance is you're not allowed to have them if that, so.
I don't have, we don't, I don't want to argue with her, but
Okay, anybody else have anything before we call the roll?
I was just reading. So if the variance is not granted, then she has 30 days still to remove it. We don't even have a 10-day in there. Correct?
Yeah, it says 30 days to remove it.
It's 30 days, right, is what I'm
Yes.
reading.
Yes. If it's denied, she's got up to 30 days. I'm reading the ordinance.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Where at Steve's phone.
So, now this is, I don't know how, is there any way that you can help your neighbor out by removing the feces and getting rid of it instead of piling it? Even though you put it in your garden, I know when I've gone through gardens with manure, it stinks still. It still stinks like manure.
we put lime on it.
Something that would satisfy your neighbor, the smell and the flies would go away.
We have dehydrated lime, we can cover it with that. We'll do that anyway, but we can put more on it.
So I guess my other thing would be, and I'm not sure if this is feasible or not, can we hold off, even though she has 30 days, we have 30 days to, where the neighbor, as long as things are brought up to snuff and the neighbor would be able to, approve it. Is this something we can do? I really don't know. I'm just trying to.
You're saying reevaluate after she attempts to take care of
the situation. And if it's not, then I would say deny after 30 days.
But you have to approve something, either one way or the other tonight.
For the variance.
Right now, there is no variance to have them in the first place.
Right.
Well, you're either in compliance or you're not.
Right.
I can sympathize with both parties, but this has been going on for some time, evidently.
This was brought in front of us last year.
Last year, and then we changed the ordinance to allow and the variance, and then it just, it's not working out.
Previously, the ordinance read, no sheep were allowed in less than 3 acre lots.
We changed it to 4H.
So they modified that last year and required a variance request.
And that should have came in April, technically, before you pick them up.
Mayor, I just want to make a correction there. That ordinance wasn't modified, variance was given.
I'm sorry.
Just make sure everybody's clear, you still have to have 3 acres.
Thank you.
What? You still have to have 3 acres?
Yep.
You don't have 3 acres.
Because there was a variance given.
Okay.
It's
I understand.
terminology was different, sorry.
I understand, that's what I thought I read.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, are we ready to vote? Any other comments or questions? Okay, you want to call the roll, please?
Alderman Norman,
No.
Alderman Horner,
No.
Alderman Deacon,
No.
Alderman Lyford,
No.
Alderman Dooner,
No.
Alderman Jones.
No.
Motion fails.
I'm sorry.
So what was next year? Do I come in before and then?
Yes, you have to come in early on.
30 days to remove them? 30. 20 days, okay.
We just, they need to be off as soon as possible. Thank you. Okay, item BB, discuss and approve urgent purchase of used irrigator from Missouri State Surplus for wastewater department in the amount of $12,500 per section 150.080, letter G, purchase of used equipment, headed 5/15/23 at 9:11 a.m. So we spread, can I get a motion on that first?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. This is what we use to haul sludge. It's an old machine, it's broke down currently. Public Works Superintendent spotted one on this surplus deal at a reasonable rate, so we tried to make an emergency purchase. Any questions or comments on that, they'd be glad to answer.
What was wrong with the other one? What happened?
The rear end went out in the field. We had to have it towed out.
Too much to, I guess too much to.
It's, what, 1990 model?
It's all, yeah, we're pushing 40 plus. But
Yeah. It's
What year is this newer one?
this newer one was 2015 or 16, I believe. Yeah, it's newer. It praised probably close to 100,000. But since it's going through the surplus, it's like at 12.5. So we actually had a couple items last year that we didn't use. We had some new gravel roads, just some clarifiers. We did the work ourselves. We had some infrared projects. We were doing inspections on lift stations. So it spared like 20 grand that we still had left that we didn't spend from last year. So we're not asking to up anything. The money's there. So we just have to get the approval. So it's over the 3,500.
How long has it been broke down?
We've been down for close to 10 days.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, it just happened.
Where's this piece of equipment located?
in Kansas City.
We would have a hauler bring it up for us.
Yeah, it's oversized level.
Right.
Is that they charge, is that included in the price or extra or something?
Yeah, which that we would pay for that.
And that's still part of that 20, whatever.
Mhm.
Any other comments? Call the roll, please.
Alderman Norman,
Yes.
Alderman Jones.
Yes.
Alderman Horner,
Yes.
Alderman Dooner,
Yes.
Alderman Deacon,
Yes.
Alderman Lyford.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Take a motion to go into closed session for legal and personnel, please.
I'll make that motion to go into close.
Second.
Alderman Norman,
Yes.
Alderman Horner,
Yes.
Alderman Lyford,
Yes.
Alderman Dooner,
Yes.
Alderman Deacon,
Yes.
Alderman Jones.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.